Hi guys, we are again for a little run at 5 a.m. It's 10 degrees Celsius and it had rain, but it should be fine. Morning. So, today I would like to talk about artists and AI, because like I mentioned in the past videos, one in particular, I'm noticing a pattern, very interesting pattern. Basically artists more and more getting into AI coding and LLMs, also at a quite advanced level of depth. So I've been thinking about it a lot, and these are my thoughts. I would be interested in hearing from you guys as well, like I did anyway in other forums. So imagine it's the pre-Claude era. It's the beginning of everything. Let's say it's probably, I don't know, 2021, something like that. And you're an artist, and a friend of yours comes to you and says, oh, look, there's this thing on Discord, on Midjourney. It's called Midjourney, and you basically chat to it, and it generates some images that could look good or not, depends. So you're skeptical, but your friend is excited, so you take a look at it. You're like, okay, it's a bit slow, it's a bit shit, but still, your interest has been piqued. So you keep thinking about it. It's at the back of your mind. Time passes, and as you know, like all things technology, normally when incentives are aligned, things can only improve. So you'll always see the worst version of something if that something is, it has merit, it has good underlying stuff with value. And indeed, that was it. Because if you compare, I don't know if you remember the Will Smith It Is Spaghetti video, that was pretty bad, wasn't it? But look at what's happening now. Now you can literally see like a AAA studio level quality for generated videos. Like I saw one last night from a Chinese AI shop of Brad Pitt fighting with Tom Cruise, like in an action movie.
You killed Jeffrey Epstein, you animal! He was a good man! He knew too much about our Russia operations. He had to die, and now you die too.
And it looks pretty good, Nothing compared to the shitty Will Smith city spaghetti.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot. Uncle Phil, come try this. Fresh pasta of Bel Air. So have you heard of Kling 3.0?
I heard it can create multiple scene cuts like this with a single prompt. And it knows when to cut to whoever is talking.
But did you know that all this audio was also generated with the same prompt?
I guess I didn't, sir.
Study harder, kid. Eat your spaghetti.
So yeah, technology improved a lot. And now imagine, this is only like the visual arts. There's also like the musical arts as well, and been impacted by this. I cannot name examples because I don't remember them. But also things improved a lot there as well. And imagine you're an artist and you observe this and you're like, oh shit, what's happening here? And you think that maybe, developers are coming to eat your cake. Because, I don't know, you fought against, probabilities and stuff. And you managed to maybe create a career for yourself, even if everyone, including your parents, friends, girlfriends, whatever, when against you, telling you, you're never gonna make it. You an artist? Why don't you become a doctor or something? Make something for yourself. I'm sure you guys heard something similar if you stepped outside of your comfort zone a little bit. But I'm trying to be empathetic here. Think like an artist. And you'd be like, oh shit, what if they were right? And that's the end. As in, you start doubting yourself like that. Don't do that. Don't doubt yourself. I mean, you need to ask yourself questions, of course, all the time. Always take feedback in, but no, don't let yourself be dragged down by these things. Try to see if there is a different edge. If you can, improve, do something about it. And so I believe that what I've been seeing lately is exactly that. Artists are realizing that, there's something new, disruptive technology that could affect their world. I mean, you will anyway, because technology affects everything and everyone. You have to go if you're lucky. And some of them are trying to take a very pragmatic and positive approach to it by literally taking the bull from the horns. And with that I mean that I can only imagine one of these artists frustrated watching YouTube videos trying to understand how these tools work and how they could use them to, to their advantage somehow. Maybe it's just a different type of pencil if you're a painter, or it's a different musical instrument if you're a musician, stuff like that. This is a positive attitude, not like being scared and dragged into the FUD, like the food. No, don't do that. So yeah, I imagine these artists watching videos, and then at some point they get recommended videos about coding, because obviously coding with AI is also a very prominent topic and use of this technology is proven. I would argue that's probably one of the most impacted, and probably one of the industries that probably will reap the most benefits out of it. But obviously it's not going to be like a smooth transition. I think, somebody's got to give first, but that's another conversation. So again, I'll try again. You're on YouTube, you get recommended videos about coding with LLMs. You're like, fine, let's have a look. And you see these kids, I mean, I call them kids because they're younger than me, could be 20, 30 years old, but without any coding skills, but maybe with some above average product knowledge, as in like also being good at marketing and stuff like that, managed to launch products thanks to the use of these tools. So you look at that, you're like, wait, so this wasn't just disruptive, this is also creative. And I always think about my friend Charlie Munger, less is so. And whenever I see a threat, I see an opportunity and vice versa. And I think this is what's been happening as well. In fact, all these people that launch products and stuff like that will keep doing so. To be fair, I'm planning to launch some products too, sometime soon. And one is related to running, which I'm doing right now. Another one is related to content creation, which I'm doing right now. Another one is related to art, which I'm talking about right now. So, I'm trying to learn from threats and opportunities around me, and I'm trying to be an artist. Did you hear what I just said? I'm trying to be an artist. Well, I always thought that software developers, in a way, are artists. And I was laughed at by real artists, including people that I dated, like, I don't know, violoncellists and stuff like that. They were professionals. And I was like, what is the difference? I mean, I don't want to talk shit about your growth, your career and everything else, but you're expressing yourself by a musical instrument. There are rules, there are patterns, there are things that work, notoriously, things that don't. So, in a way, both things are related to math, symmetry, patterns, loops. A lot of things are very, very interchangeable in my opinion. And so I'm like, yeah, I think I'm an artist. Because you put me in front of a computer, and obviously I'm talking about pre-LLM, pre-Claude era. You put me in front of the computer and give me time and electric power and food and a task. I mean, I can come up with that myself, but I will create something for you. Something that is, quote unquote, alive. Something that can make you feel something. And then I ask, how is that different from like a beautiful composition or a poem or a sculpture? Isn't it the same kind of thing? What changes is how you express it, the media they're using and your process and stuff like that. See where I'm going here? So yeah, maybe software developers were always artists, and artists were always software developers. So well, now obviously it's just easier for them to get into this world and be very productive and apply their innate artist soul and crafts and learnings into this new canvas, new media, new tools. But at the end of the day, what they're doing is to bring their ideas to life. It's beautiful. I generally think it's beautiful. I don't feel threatened by it. I'm inspired by it. Like deeply inspired by it. And so there are a few examples of developers that I'm sure went through the, if you're a software engineer, I'm sure you can relate. The never-ending sessions, the bugging and issue that you couldn't just figure it out. Trying for hours, days, sometimes weeks and months. and then you manage, and you absolutely love it. And then fast forward 6 months, you go back to it and you look at the code and you're like, wow, who wrote this thing? And you wrote that, you just don't remember. And I'm sure that as an artist, you can live the same feelings. And I know because I have a cousin which is a professional pianist, and another one that is orchestra director. So, you know, a little bit of chats made me understand that there are a lot of similarities between our worlds, but obviously I didn't want to bore them with my shit. And now you're here trapped in my video, so I have to bore you. So I was saying, artists and developers, the similarities, and I lost my train of thought for a second, then I remembered what else I wanted to say, and it's about the iterative process of building something, which is also very similar, because imagine you're a sculptor, you have a block of, I don't know, wood, marble, clay, whatever, it doesn't really matter, and it just has a very, you know, it has a shape, which could be geometric or not, depending on how it has been cut, but it's not what you want to create. You have to make it, you have to change it, you have to mold it to your will, like bend it to your will, so to say. So what do? You start like with a hammer, you start hammering it and breaking pieces off of it. You're like, okay, I want to make maybe a person. I don't know if artists go like complete inspiration and they let their muscle memory and stuff and inspiration to come up with something meaningful, or if they have a plan and they kind of like make it happen step by step. Maybe it's a bit of both. Maybe there's a component of improvisation where there is a plan, but also you allow yourself to deviate from it enough to maybe make something beautiful, because let's be honest, sometimes it's the weird and impossible, and I mean impossible before it became possible. It's what is outside of the domain of things that are already out there that can really surprise and stand out. Maybe not initially, but it's different. It's been, generally speaking, like dated and misunderstood. But you know, sometimes you might be noticed by like-minded people that they see what you see in that weirdness. And we could call that art, you know. So you follow the spec or not. You build something step by step, layer after layer, iteration by iteration, and you keep looking at it from various angles, you test it, you invite your friends over, without saying anything, you just look at the way they react to it, you take mental notes, and then maybe you smash it, because you're like, no, fuck it, my friends weren't outraged enough. Or maybe you're like, okay, I like the way my wife looked at me after she touched that piece of art that I made. Yeah, I like that. I like how I felt. Yeah, I think I'm gonna complete it and name it after her or something. So, how about sex of them? But you have a spec, and then you have to iterate quickly. Obviously you can iterate at different layers, different levels. It could be very close loop, like literally your code. Maybe you have tests, stuff like that to validate your hypothesis. But then you know the real feedback is when you put your code out there. That's the only real feedback. And in that case, you have to iterate quickly. And there are a few builders that are awesome at this. They are out there in social media. They get DMs and they fix bugs like within hours. That's beautiful. That's also a way to compete with big shops because, you know, the amount of bureaucracy and paper pushing to get one tiny button color change is insane. While you could just, you are solo, you are your own boss. Actually, no, your customers are your boss, and you just have to, you know, deliver on that. Sometimes you have to, sometimes you don't, but generally speaking, you have to. And so you are faster than the juggernauts. I don't know how long it's gonna last. Many say that window is closing, that AGI is coming, that software development is cooked. I don't believe it for a second. I believe that the tools and the ways we do things are changing, but ultimately the human component is gonna affect things a lot. How? I don't know exactly yet, but I'm sure that humans will be there. Power is nothing without control, because, you know, you cannot just automate a bot that makes money for you. Sure, it could work. I tried, but not last forever. First of all, inefficiencies are like cancelled out by other people noticing them and joining the bandwagon, because, you know, we live in a very competitive world where your margins are my opportunity. And it doesn't mean that, for example, I see that your OpenClaw bot launched something and I think I can do it like at least 1% better. I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna give it a shot. So you do it, then you have to compete. How do you compete? Could be price, obviously features and responsiveness, design, whatever. I mean, the cake is big. It's not like you win, I lose kind of thing. It's more like we all win in different measures. And yeah, it's the same. I'm sure that, you know, it's a good thing that, for example, these artists are getting into the software development world. And then maybe the opposite as well, like software developers are getting into art. Why not? You see, like, it's like you're on a date and something clicks and you're like, oh, maybe I keep dating this thing, you know, art or software development, because it makes me happy. I feel like I'm doing something that I like. Oh no, they closed the bridge. Damn it. No, I cannot go to Pescara all the way. There's the bridge that goes above the river and the docks, the fishing docks. And I went around it. This is messing up with my routine, so I think I will just maybe make a longer run on the other side, because I got stuff to do. Also, my laptop, my Mac turned off last night. I don't know why. And so I have to catch up with some things that I left cooking, and now I have to, you know, reassess the state, etc., etc. So yeah, I'll pause for now. I'll record something else later if I have more ideas. But I guess this was a quite long video. I'll stop here. Thank you for joining me in this little jog. Now I'll try to go a little bit faster. I'm also trying to get my aerobic capability in better shape. Literally, Brock told me that I should, and I believe that is true. I tend also to always to like strain myself too much. He said I should slow down, get to a conversational pace, and here we go. And but you know, I always found it quite boring, so I started recording audio messages for my kids and my wife, which one day I'm sure they will find entertaining and cute and whatever. I'm not gonna be here anymore, but maybe I will look at them from wherever I will be, if there is this place. It's good to think about that. They will remember me, sorry. And yeah, I think it's cute. I think I would have liked to have received something like that from my parents. Unfortunately, I cannot say that I even know my parents well enough. But that's another topic for another run. Maybe I should call these RUNT. Is it like RUNT with the A, but it's performed on a running, so with a U. RUNT. We'll make it. We got trademark it. I'm joking. Well, see you later, guys. Bye.